What's in there? Okay, no one's in there besides me. Lit. That's about
Wait, where can I find this ID? Hold up.
I could send it to you.
Okay, yeah.
Is it on the flyer?
Yeah, baba.
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to figure out where did I put it. Oh, I see the flyer. Okay. Pull it.
8, 6, 9.
Ah, it's recording already. Shit.
7 or 6. It's okay. We can just cut it out.
It's not recording.
For those of you just joining us, we're about to start at 4:05, just so we can give folks more time to join into the Zoom. Thank you.
All right, so it's 4:05 p.m., so we're gonna get going. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This will be recorded, so we'll be able to share it with you guys, or you'll be able to share it with your friends who weren't able to come in. So first of all, we are the UCM Community Partners. We're a separate branch from the Bright Success Center. And yeah, we're run by undergraduate students. So get going. And as you can see, there are our Instagram and our YouTube. Next slide. Oh, and whenever you guys have any questions, just make sure to put it in the chat box, and Lindsay will be replying back to you guys, or we'll wait after to reply back. So today we're going to learn how to register for classes at UC Merced. Many of us who are part of community partners have already graduated, so we know what it's like to pick the wrong classes, not know what to do, and make a lot of mistakes. So we're going to teach you guys what not to do. Next slide, please. So today we're gonna first check our registration time, have a plan, get your classes ready, log in and add classes, check your weekly schedule, and lastly, tips. First, how to check your registration time. So this is the number one thing that you need to know is what time you are registering at, because everybody has different registration times. And let's say your friends are telling you like, yeah, my registration time's on Monday. And you're like, okay, that's cool. Like, no, don't rely on that, because you have a checklist. And if you do not check your checklist and you're missing something, then you will have like a delay in your registration time. So it's always important that you're always checking your portal. So yeah, next slide. So you log into myucmerced.edu with your username and password. And on the left side, you will see in the bottom, my registration. So you click on that. Next slide. And then you can see, check your registration status and appointment time. So there you will be able to see your status and your appointment time. So like I said before, if you're missing something on your checklist, you won't be able to register. So it's really important that you check your portal. And then click submit based on the terms. So in this case, we're doing fall semester 2020.
Right.
All right, and then Harriet.
So every time we do a step, we're gonna be showing you guys how to actually do it. So first, you will, like Brittany said, you will go to my UC Merced, to your portal. For many of you guys, it might be new, but you're gonna have to use dual login, which is another like password security for your account. So once you do that, it will require you for like a call, a passcode, or a certain like PIN. It'll look like this, but mine is already automatically set to send me like a little push. So all you do would be like download the app, register it with your account, and it'll allow you access to it. So let me see. Here. Give me a minute.
Do you need help?
Oh, I had to switch. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yes. So here we are at the portal. You will go to my registration, like Brittany said before. Click check your registration status time. Just because I graduated recently, this spring, I'm gonna switch it to a spring. I'm gonna say, let's see, spring 2020, which was last semester, and click submit. But for you guys, it's gonna be fall 2020. And once you do that, you're gonna see a certain the date, the time, and usually up to what like time frame it allows you to do it. So an advice would be just to check this before your actual registration. It usually opens June 24th, I believe. So June 24th in a few days, 8 days. So make sure to take into account this time, put it on your calendar or put an alarm, and just be right on time, just because classes are first come, first serve. So all the classes, even though you have a set amount of classes that you would like to take, depending on the time and then the day, that class may or may not be gone. So keep in mind to have backups, but this is the first step on how to do it. And then going back to the slide.
Yeah, so I believe somebody just put in the chat June 25th at 8:30, I believe. So yeah, that could be your time. As you saw on Harriet's screen, it said 7 a.m. So, that's why it's really important to check your registration time in case your time might be a little bit different. And honestly, it's just really important that you do it on like the first like moment it opens, go for it. Just because classes do run out like super quick, and literally you're gonna have no classes. Well, not no classes, but no good classes. So yeah. Second part is have a plan and plan accordingly. So let's go ahead, check out the slides. Thank you to our person in the comment section. So yeah, you will want to get a 4-year plan based on your major. So first is you go on your search engine, type UC Merced 4-year plan along with your major, and you will see a plan that can guide you through your 4 or more years at UC Merced. Keep in mind that based on your major and whatever circumstances you're going through in life does not mean that, you have to graduate within 4 years, or it does mean that you could graduate like a little bit earlier. So yeah, this is just kind of like an estimated time. Just want to like emphasize that because I understand that we all have different goals in mind. And then yeah, they will show you the classes that they recommend based on your major. So right here we see a political science major. And next slide.
Right. And then once again, we're gonna like be following you guys step by step with this, just in case. But you guys could see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like Britt said, you're gonna type on the web, okay, that keeps popping up. Right here. Any major, it could be, let's say, 4-year plan, and you could be a cognitive science major. You would type that in, and you'll know which one to choose depending if you see a PDF version of it. Let me see if I actually typed this right, but UC Merced 4-year plan. Oh, I forgot to put UC Merced. But yeah, so usually you will look at the link that anything that says a PDF version, and once you click it, it's gonna give you a PDF of it, and it'll give you a list of possible classes that you might want to take just to finish in 4 years. So usually it'll give you your first your introductory classes if you didn't take any introductory classes either at a community college, AP classes, or any other forms of it. And it'll basically guide you on what type of classes to take. So it'd be non-major upper divisions. So what that means is that you're supposed to take a upper division class, which is a class that could be cognitive science 100 and above, but below 200. And it's supposed to be not within your major or minor. So it could be, you could be a cognitive science major taking a sociology upper division. So it could be sociology 110, which is actually social movements, and I believe social movements, I think that's the name of it. But this is just one plan for each major. They created one too, so you could always change this. Let's say a psychology major. The same thing goes. You will look for the one that says a PDF, and you just click it, and it'll give you something like this too. So depending on the major, it'll differ just because some of them do require more classes. Like STEM majors might require more than 4 years at the UC, but depending on the classes, if you took AP classes or not, you took community college classes, then it'll help you advance more towards your degree, but also take less time. And then back to this.
All right then, so third is get your list of classes. And we're going, next slide. So in order for you to know which classes you need, you will need to go on UC Merced course catalog, and there's a screenshot of what it looks like. And every catalog is different. So just because one semester they're offering a certain psychology class does not mean that the next semester they're going to offer it. So it's really important that you look up the classes based on the whether it's like fall or like summer. So yeah, fill the bubble fall semester 2020, fill open classes, and then select all classes or specific subject. So you will see a list of all the classes available that are open. Make sure when you are searching for classes, you write down the CRN, the first column, and in blue, and that lecture times do not conflict with other classes. So CRN code is a number. You need to make sure that you write that down when you are going to register for your classes, because that is what you will type in to actually get registered in that class. And if you don't have the right code and you click it in, it's not going to let you get that class. And then that might kind of interfere with you getting that class. So keep in mind time gaps, discussion classes, when you want to start classes and end your day, and clubs, research, etc. So if you know that, for example, like you work at nighttime or during the evening, you want to take morning classes only, be mindful of the time frames and write them down. Personally, I want to have like a backup plan in case like that class is like at a different time, just in case, because sometimes you have like a list of like, this is my perfect schedule, and then you put it in and it doesn't go that way. So it's really important that you also have like backup classes, look at the time, so you're also like mindful of that. And then next slide, please. All right, here's just an example of what a political science CRN course looks like. So as you can see on the left in the blue, you see all the different numbers, and then to the right, you see the description, the units, which is important because you want to make sure you're taking the right amount of units so it counts towards your credits. And then you're able to see lecture. TR means Thursday, so just so you know that. And then you have the times, the building, the start, the instructor's names. It doesn't always have the instructor's name, but sometimes you might get it. And then you're able to see how many classes will be available, how many are left, because as you can see, sometimes there's one and sometimes there's 50 spots open. So depending on how important that class is will, depend the seats. And then next slide.
Right.
All right.
Like Britt said, you could always go to the search engine and just put UC Merced course catalog. This is the way I personally do it, but there's other ways. Once you're registering for classes, it'll allow you to go right through it, but sometimes it's inconvenient in my part, just because you could only be clicking sometimes one class at a time, and I just like to copy and paste and just get done with it. So like Britt said, you're gonna click fall semester 2020. Depending on what classes you're looking for, you could be more specific, or you just want to look at all the classes that are there. For today, we're just gonna do all subjects, and it's very important for you guys to just put open classes, because open classes are going to be the classes that are open and not filled up. And you put all classes and you see a class that you wanted to take, and let's say you didn't pay attention at how many open seats were available, and turns out there's 0 seats, and you put the CRN, your portal is going to tell you that there was an error, and you might have to go back and choose a different class. So just try to keep that in mind. And once you do that, you'll see a whole list of classes that are open right now. So if any of you guys are interested in taking any anthro classes, since all of you guys might be incoming freshmen, I'm not sure right now, you might be taking a lot of intro classes. So a lot of the classes that you're going to be taking could be Anthro 1, Sociology 1, Bio 1, depending on the classes. And also important, for intro classes and lower division classes, a lot of them require a discussion class, and you'll know it's a discussion class when it says D on it. So once you click a regular lecture, let's say this bio lecture is max 84 students. So there's 29 seats open. So depending on anyone who, let's say, is a bio major right now or is thinking about taking a bio class, bio 1 might be an option. So you'll see the seats that are free, 29 seats, but you also have to take into account that there's lecture. So besides having a lecture class Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays from 11:30 to 12:20, it'll also show you the exam times, but also the discussion classes. So you're gonna have to register not only your lecture, but your discussion class. So you might be you're gonna have a busy day and be taking probably up to more than maybe like 8 classes a week or something like that, just because this is discussion class. A lot of them are like 50 minutes to an hour, depending on the class, but this is kind of how you look at it. So a lot of lower divisions, what that means is anything that is not above 100 in any class, meaning that bio 60 is a lower division, bio 18 is a lower division, bio 2 is a lower division, or anything like that. And then upper divisions, that's usually when you start taking upper division classes, is your second year. Usually you'll start taking classes that are like bio 100, which is more specific classes like biochemistry. Bio 10 is the cell. Bio 113 is sustainable anthropocene, I believe. I'm not sure if that's how you enunciate it, but there's more and more classes that you could take, bioengineering, and it goes all the way down to writing classes and Spark. So it might be good just to maybe starting today or the next following days, just to take a look at the classes and see what classes you might be interested on taking or adding, and taking into account the CRN, which is in blue.
So I want to just address some of the questions that are in the comment box. So somebody asked, how many units should we be taking? So as Lindsay said, 12 to 16 units if you want to be considered on track to graduate. Personally, I took 16 just because I thought it'd be better, get it over with. And it honestly helped me out just because later on I had to work. So during a semester, I was taking 12 units instead of 16 because I didn't have to take 16 anymore. I could take less units since I took a lot of units my first 2 years. And then someone said, will our advisors our recommended courses before registration opens? So Lindsay said, yes, your advisor will send you an email prior to registration with the recommended courses you should be taking your first semester. I wouldn't depend on this, just in case if you're a person that doesn't check your email. Check what the websites that we're sending you guys about, like, the plan that based on your major that you want to do and the classes that they recommend, just because we're not always too sure about that. And then someone said, as freshmen, are we required to take intro classes? This is true for students who don't have credit already. So like, let's say you're getting credit for certain AP classes. You might not have to take an intro class because you passed the exam and you're getting credit for it. So it's kind of based on your transcript, and that's where you could go on my UC Merced and check your audit to see what classes you already have. And then let's see, if you don't receive an email, remember you can also find a PDF for your major by typing UC Merced. Yeah, the 4-year plan. So what I kind of said.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah, just to add on a little bit more on what Britt said, if you're maybe don't like taking intro classes just because they are big seminars, especially impacted majors like psychology or like bio or chemistry or anything like that, a lot of them will require you to take a intro class to any class in general, just because it is a prerequisite. But let's say you took AP Psychology or Psychology 1 in a different name at a community college, then that can actually count towards your credits here at UC Merced, depending if those units are transferable. And when you are able to do that, basically you could just move on and take a lower division psychology or upper divisions. So you might not need to even take an intro class. For instance, I'm pretty sure, or that a lot of you guys like what is it, like a foreign language AP class or something like that for many schools. In my high school, they made us take AP Spanish, and a lot of students actually passed it. So that if you took like an AP Spanish class and you passed it with a 4 or 5, at the UC level, they only accept 4 and 5 to get a credit. If you get a 3, meaning you passed it at a Cal State level, they usually don't accept a 3. But just to be safe, just a 4 and 5 is what they usually accept. But after you take AP Spanish at your high school level, you don't have to take a foreign language class here at UC Merced. So that would take your requisite off, and you could just take other classes within your major. And usually for the credit units, it's 12 to 16. Minimum is 12. Just make sure every time you're registering for classes, it's 12 units. Just because if you do not have 3 classes on your registration or on your like online portal, then your financial aid might be affected. For you, in order to get financial aid, you have to be registered to 12 units, meaning 3 classes, and be on good academic standing. And then the max that you could take is 20 units, but if you want to take more than 4 classes, then you might have to petition for that.
So going back to, I just want to address the comment section because we're getting a few questions. So some people are asking about dual enrollment, taking summer session at a CC. This is why it's important that you're checking your transcripts that are showing up on your portal and making sure that you have credit for it. If it's not showing up, then that means it probably hasn't transferred yet. So you need to get into communication with your counselor. And somebody asked, how do I get into communication with my counselor? You just look up, go like UC Merced advising, and then based on your major, they will have someone assigned to you. I think now it's like based on last name or year.
That's based on major.
On last name, right?
No, major.
Major? Okay. Yeah, so it's just based on major, and you can literally look up like, Harriet, are you doing it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna show you right now.
So
It's really important that you stay in contact with them.
Yeah,
Oh,
in order for you to find your advisor, you just input UC Merced, and in our case, we're gonna use Shaw advisors. But depending on if you're like a STEM major or a Shaw major, meaning that if you're into the science, STEM, math, or anything like that, that's the natural sciences and engineering buildings or the school. And then Shaw includes everything from anthropology to political science, psychology, sociology, cognitive science, or anything else. But usually this is their website for Shaw Advising. And you would go to meet with your advisor right here on the corner. And then once you get this, you could go all the way down and it'll tell you, depending on the major that you have, who's your advisor. So let's say you're a global arts studies major, your advisor is gonna be Caroline Barranco. If you're a transfer student, cognitive sci, philosophy major, your advisor is gonna be Her. So what you would do is once you know who your advisor is, you guys could like write that down, maybe take a picture or something like that, or type it in later. We're gonna be posting this on YouTube too. So if you guys wanna go over it again, you guys could do this. But once you know who your advisor is, you're gonna click on, actually, are you able to make appointments? You could schedule an appointment right here. It'll redirect you to another page right here. And then if you already know who it is, let's say Her, we could just click her. And then it'll tell you if you're a Jumpstart third year, which that's not going to be the one that you guys are going to be selecting. It's either going to be registration advising or general advising. So I would recommend just doing the registration. And then depending on that person's availability, they're going to have different dates in blue that they're free. So if you want to meet up with them, let's say next week on Monday, they have certain times here and you click depending on the time, confirm it, put your name, email, your student ID number, your major, phone number, and then the reason to visit, and it'll give you, let's say, period. This is just a random number, and then you could put registration. You could put anything depending on this, but then it'll confirm it with you. It'll send you an email, and then you could even put it on your calendar, and it'll let you know 15 minutes, usually 15 to 30 minutes before the meeting starts. And then that's how you make an appointment with any of your advisor. But let's see.
All right, yeah, so definitely use that. Thank you for the questions. That's really good that you guys are asking this, because honestly, like, the best way for you to know, like, get all your specific questions answered is asking your advisor, because we unfortunately can't check your audit. So yeah, let's go back to the slides, and then 4 is log into your myucmerced.edu, and then next. All right, and then next slide, my registration. Register and add drop classes. Okay, so this is when you're gonna actually get to register, and it's time. You already prepared. You already know what your plan is. Okay, so click register, add drop classes, submit. Next slide. And then there you will see in the bottom the CRNs. So that is where you want to put the numbers. And I don't know why it gives you so many options, but it's usually like that amount of numbers that you're going to put. And then next one, add classes worksheet. Okay. So the page should update and have a description of the classes you will take. An error might occur that class is full. You need certain requirements like other lower division classes, or there is a time conflict with another class you choose. So if there isn't not let you register, there is a reason why it's not letting you register. So for example, like I said, you haven't taken the lower division course, there's a time conflict, etc. And then if so, you will have to adjust your class depending on the type of error. If there is no error, then you should be set with your classes for the following semester. So yeah, it's just really important that you check why there's an error, and definitely talk to your advisor if you don't think it's fair. I know there's been students who have waived out of lower division classes by proving, something else. So definitely ask your advisor if you think you should be accepted into that class. And then next slide. Is going to do a demonstration on how to do that.
Yeah, like we said before, you could go to your portal, put your registration, and it'll take you to this right here. So this is where you're going to be checking your registration status and appointment time. But once you get all the codes and everything you need, you will click register, add drop classes, and then click fall semester 2020, and it should take you to this. So here on these little boxes, that's where you're going to be inputting the CRNs or the codes for the classes. And once you put all the codes here and the classes that you want to take along with discussion classes, you're going to click submit changes. And if everything goes good, meaning that you took into account any classes that might overlap, any exams or final exams that might overlap, maybe other clubs, extracurriculars that you guys plan on taking, it should send you or have a list of the classes that you have. Let me select a different term. So I can't really show you guys how it's gonna look like, but if there is an error, it'll let you know in red what classes conflict with something else. But we're also gonna be going over how to avoid time conflicts with your finals, but also any other classes that you guys have. Yeah.
All right, so 5, check your weekly schedule. So once you register your classes, below there will be a tab that will say check weekly schedule. And then in the next slide, you will see what that will look like. So yeah, scheduled by week, like I said in the bottom. And there you will be able to see what your schedule will look like for the week. Personally, it's really good that you screenshot it and make it your lock screen, because it will literally help you know where your classes are at, like just checking up your phone and being like, oh crap, like I have to go to my class soon, like, you know? So definitely take a screenshot of it, make it your wallpaper. And then next slide. Tips. So here we go. How you will do this right. Because let me tell you, I messed up and I did not like check online. I didn't check my portal. I wasn't emailing my counselor. So I literally had holds on my registration. So it's not good. So we're going to teach how to not do that. So courseical.com, a page used by college students to facilitate what classes you can take and avoid time issues. Although when using this, be aware that it does not let you know if classes are open. It's used more to create multiple possible schedules for yourself at the times and days you would like to attend. This site also offers a CRN, making it easier to just copy and paste the classes you want into your registration page. Yeah, so courseical.com is like a separate website, and you can basically put in all the different codes that you already have, and it will give you like a predicted schedule, like a fake schedule. But like we said, it's not like super accurate in the sense that it's not going to show you if a class is open. So yeah, right now after this session, really recommend go on courseical.com and play around with it, play with different schedules. Like, do you want a morning class, or do you want a morning schedule, or do you want an evening schedule? Be mindful. Honestly, you do not want to be at school all day, so don't try not to sign up for like a 9 a.m. class and then a 7 p.m. class in the evening. That is not fun. Having to go back to campus or being on campus all day. And then next slide. Questions to ask yourself. Okay, so before you even register, before the date comes that you're gonna finally get to put in your classes and sign up, is first ask yourself, do I have the CRN codes? Are they written down correctly? Because if you don't write it down right, it's not gonna let you submit it. Second is, did I have the CRNs for discussion class? So some classes will not let you register if you do not put the discussion class with it at the same time. So let's say CRN code for poli-sci intro lecture is a certain number, but then the discussion is another number. So when you're putting in the codes in the CRN boxes, make sure you have them in at the same time when you're submitting it, because if not, it's not going to let you, register it. And then third is, do I have backup classes? So classes will run out as you see, and it's really important that you guys have classes in case time conflicts or you're just not able to sign up for it. And then another one is, am I a morning person? Personally, I am not a morning person. So I always make sure to take evening classes because that is just not who I am. Some people thrive in the morning and that's good for them. If you are a morning person, take morning classes. And then next is, do I like gaps? Personally, I don't really like having gaps. I kind of like like if it's just 2 classes for a day, I don't want a gap. I want to get it over with. I mean, if it's 3 or 4 classes in a day, then I would want a gap. Just because, you want to have space to like go eat, rest, do homework. And then somebody just asked a question. Is there any website where students rate the professors? Yes, ratemyprofessor.com. Everybody knows that website. If you want to check out the professor and, get an idea of their learning style, then go ahead, check out that website, because you will, it will give you an understanding of how the professor is and how to do better in that class, because, it's always good to know. And then, did someone ask another question?
I think someone
asked
if
the
prereq one. I believe if you take the prereq class over the summer at a CC and then you come fall semester, it'll allow you to register for it only if your advisor gets your transcripts. So you have to be able to communicate with your advisor at the CC and have them transfer your transcripts to UC Merced as quickly as possible. And once that's settled over and your UC Merced advisor gives you the okay to go ahead and register for any other class, it'll allow you to register for that class. So you won't have to do that prerequisite, and meaning you'll also take less classes and it's less money for you too.
And then someone said, do only some classes require a discussion class, and will it say if discussion classes are required? Yes. So when you are looking at the catalog and the classes, it will literally say lecture, and then there will be a lot of like different discussion times, which Harriet, can you show them real quick what that looks like? Would you mind?
The discussion times?
Yeah, like going on the catalog to show them like what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like yeah. And not every class needs a discussion. Some of them might be labs, and it will literally say right like underneath it like lab for that specific class and different times. So let's show y'all really quick what that looks like so you have an idea.
Yeah, so usually only intro classes require labs. So like Bio 1, anything, like I said, that is from Bio 1 to Bio 99 or Psych 1 to Psych 99 is our lower divisions or intro classes. So some of them might or might not require discussion classes. So here is Bio 18. This is the lecture right here. So it's statistical science data analysis. And it'll tell you must also register for a corresponding discussion. So it'll let you know what classes you need to register for a discussion class. And then discussion classes should be at the bottom, right here. Yeah, but a lot of the intros and lower division classes, same thing for bioengineering. From Bio 21 to Bio 60, bioengineering 60 here, some of them do require a lab. For this one, you need to register for a corresponding lab, but for others, let's say like bioengineering 60 right here, it doesn't require one. So it'll tell you at the bottom, like right up, like below the lecture. Let's go to, this is philosophy 108, which is an upper division class. Doesn't require a discussion class, but sometimes lectures may or may not be a little bit longer. So it kind of all depends on the major and then the type of class that you plan on taking. But for a lot of intro classes and lower div classes, you might have to take a discussion class. So like here in Poli-Sci, Poly 1, which is the Intro to American Politics, it requires you to register for a discussion class. Same thing for Poly 3, Poly 5, Poly 10, and then once you get to Poly 100 and above, those don't require discussion classes. Same thing for Psych.
And then I wanted to address something real quick. Somebody asked, can we take classes with overlapping exam dates/times and regular class schedule? Doesn't it, or will that be an error? No, you can't do that because it will literally say error when you try to register that there's like overlapping exam dates and times with the schedule. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. But if like, let's say it does, and like worst comes to worst, you have exams at the same time, just like your professor know, they're super like understanding. They, they'll understand that you're taking another class and then that's at the same time, that's where you have to learn how to communicate with your professors and really just like talk to them and explain, hey, I'm taking this other course. It's at the same time, the exam are like at the same exact time. What can I do? So they'll arrange for you, but I'm pretty sure it shouldn't let you because there will be an error.
Yeah, should if any of the lecture times or even the exam, the ones that say exam are actually your final exam, so they'll tell you ahead of time when your final exam is going to be. But a lot of professors, what they like to do is have the exam like a week before, just because they don't want to overwhelm you. But at the same time, a lot of professors like to do this, so some of your finals may or may not land at the same day. So one semester I actually had 3 finals in one day, back to back from 9 to 1 p.m. So, and what I didn't know is that I could have asked to request to have one of my final exams moved to a different like later date, or like somewhere before on my other exams, and they'll give you the option to do this and work around you. But if you don't go out of your way to maybe just approach your professor or just send them a quick email, they won't know what's going on in your situation. So it's always useful to like get to know them and just email them whenever you have a problem. But yeah, if an exam date or a lecture time or anything, discussion class conflicts with another class on your portal, it's going to let you know as an error that's those classes are interfering with each other.
Yeah, and just so y'all know, the last week of school, or not last week of school, but the last, like, there is a week where you will not have classes. It will be only tests unless your professor wants to give you the tests before that week, just so you know. So that's how, like, exam dates don't conflict, because you're not going to have class during that week. You're only going to have exams, which is kind of cool because you don't have to go to class anymore and you can have more time to study. And then back to the slides where we were at. Thank you everyone for the questions. These are really helpful.
If you guys have any questions, keep sending them through. We're gonna try to work with you guys as much as possible and have you guys ready to register for classes.
Yeah, and then for going back to tips more, classes are first come, first serve. Let me tell you again, I literally messed up on this. Like, I thought like just because they gave me a certain time, like, oh, they gave me from March 1st to May, that I have until May to like sign up, which is technically true, but I waited too long and I didn't get my classes. So definitely sign up the moment that the time is open. If your registration time is at 8:30 a.m., you better be on your computer at 8:30 a.m. and like sign up. And then next is have backup classes, because like we said, there's most likely always going to be a conflict, and it's frustrating, we know, but it's very important that you have like extra CRN codes with you just in case anything happens. And then of course, take into account discussion classes. So that's why it's really important for you to, take into consideration, like, do I want morning? Do I want evening? So just look at the times, be mindful, and, try to plan your schedule out. You get to pick it now. And then, what's the website to pick our classes? So my UC Merced like to register or to like pick which ones? Isn't that the catalog, Harriet?
Yeah, it is the catalog. Sorry, it's because my mom is using the blender right now, so I'm not sure if you guys could hear the blender in the background. But yeah, you could just type in on any search engine, my UC Merced, just UC Merced course catalog, and it should be the first one. So UC Merced course catalog, and it should be the first one that pops up. So just be mindful, like we said, click on the first link, click fall semester 2020. All subjects, if you're not sure what classes you want to take, or you want to take other classes that you might be interested in taking, or let's say you're an undeclared major, you could look into intro classes and just like look at certain classes and see what might interest you or not. And then you just click new schedule, and it should give you the whole list of all the possible classes, like chemistry, computer engineering, economics, engineering, environmental engineering, history, heritage studies, interdisciplinary humanities, Japanese, mathematics, and so on. So it'll have any open class of any major right here.
I just want to address some of the questions real quick. So somebody asked, is there a time period when we can drop classes if we decide that we don't like that class? Yes, there is a time period. So let's say the class starts on June 1st. You have usually 2 to 3 weeks, but if I were you, look it up just to be safe, because there's always a specific date and it always changes, I think. So usually it's around 2 to 3 weeks. Oh wait, here it's gonna show us real quick. But yeah, just make sure that you know when that date is so you can drop that class and it won't be like penalized against you. Because if not, then it will show up that you dropped the class and that will not be good for your transcripts. And then somebody asked, also, if we take 3 classes and decide we want to add another class, is that possible? Yes, but like it depends how many units you're taking. So let's say you're taking 12 units. Of course you can add another class, like that's fine. But let's say you're taking 16 units, which is the capacity. In order to take 18 units, I think you need to like email the school and get like an approval. So yeah, like it just depends how many units you're taking. So classes, you want to refer them to now as units, not as like, high school classes where it's like, oh, I'm taking 5, 6 classes. No, this is units, because you could take a class in college and it could be 2 units instead of 4 units. And then somebody said, what is the 001 Spark Seminar? So Spark Seminar, unfortunately, is an intro class that you all have to take at UC Merced, just because it's required. It's just what you have to do every, it's beneficial. I know some people are like, why do I have to take it? But it's really beneficial for you because they teach you about like different ways to prepare as like a college student, and they're gonna, you get to like speak to different professors. So it's just an introduction class that we all have to take. I recommend you take it your first year. Do not wait until your 3rd or your 4th year because, like you want to get it over with. Like, why do you want to spend your time in an intro class during your last years? But that's just me. I just recommend get it over with. And then what is the minimum units per semester for full-time students? It's 12 units is the minimum. Yes, it is. That's even if you have you get financial aid, 12 units is the minimum. They recommend 16 units because that helps you graduate quicker and you just get things out of the way quicker. So yeah, 12 units is the minimum. And then Harriet, anything else you wanted to show, or
Oh
you want
yeah,
to go back
so
to?
someone asked about the deadlines. What you could always do is also type in UC Merced deadlines, or just put dropping classes. It'll take you to, let's start from the beginning. In my case, I just typed in UC Merced drop classes. You'll click on the deadlines by the Office of the Registrar. If you click on this, it'll show you this right here. So you'll click Fall 2020. And even though you're going to be registering for classes starting June 24, you have between June 24 and let's say September 1st to add any class. So you'll still, let's say you already have your classes set, but you want to take a different class instead, you could drop it between these 2 dates, and it'll allow you to like drop the class and then add the new class. To add a class with a signature from the professor, it's from September 2 to September 16. So if you miss the September 1st, like the last day deadline, you could still add another class, but this time you're gonna have to go to the professor who's teaching that class and ask them for their signature and get that form in between those 2 days. And then to drop a class online, in order in your transcript to not have a W, meaning that you withdrew from the class, you have from August 26th to September 16th to do that. So you could drop a class and nothing is going to appear on your transcript or anything like that. But if you do it after September 16th, you're going to have to go to the instructor and get the dean's signature on, and they'll ask why you want to drop this class or any like special circumstances that you might have to take into account, and you have to submit that form between September 17 and November 14. But just in case, I would also recommend writing these dates on your calendar or any other, your planner or something like that, just to keep them in mind. And just in case you want to drop a class or maybe add a class, or you want to go over a 20 class, which a lot of students have done, but it is a lot of course work and a lot of classes that you're going to be taking during your first year. I think someone, oh yeah. Oh, Alejandro's in here. Hey.
Would you suggest taking the Spark seminars? you have to take it. So unfortunately, we're not suggesting it. You're gonna have to take it.
Yeah, it's a
And
requirement.
yeah, it's a requirement as a UC Merced student. Every university has like a requirement of like a class you have to take, and that is it. Take advantage of it. Like Lindsay mentioned, it introduces students to life at Research University. So yeah, you definitely want to get research experience. Like you want to get that on your resume, get hands-on work because it will benefit you. Trust me. Um, let's
Yeah.
see.
So like this is a requirement when you guys, if you guys end up Googling like the 4-year plan that we recommended, usually like your first year, they're gonna ask you to take like I guess the lower division classes or your general education classes, and that includes a writing 10 class. I put a political science class, but Poly 1, which is an intro class, is going to require with a discussion class here and Spark seminar. So any 4-year plan that you Google, it's always going to tell you to take Spark no matter what. Yeah, I don't think you could get out of it. But yeah, I doubt it.
This is just to show you all, if you guys search up Bobcat courses, all one word, you can use it as long as you know the name of the class that you're taking. So I'm going to use some classes that I wrote down. You can just type in the classes and then it'll do it for you. It'll create its own little schedule, as you can see. So this is the only schedule that it has. And this one actually does, like unlike Corsical, this one does tell you if it's available. It would have an X around here if it's not available. And since all of these are available, it already created the classes for me. So when registration opens up, or I guess for me, it already opened up, but for you all, when it opens up, it should just, you could just get the CRNs from down here. And then you can just copy and paste into the CRN box, and hopefully it's still open by the time you insert it, because it takes, I guess, like it is quick. Like there are many people that are doing it at the same time as you, so you have to be like how Brittany said, first come first serve, and be as quick as possible. But yeah, this is a really good website, Bobcat courses.
Yeah. If you guys have any more questions, we have the chat or the Zoom open until 6. So if you guys need more questions answered, just shoot them through. We're gonna do our best. So it will be on our checklist when it opens. What are you referring to? Your classes? Oh yeah. Well, in my portal, I can't show you just because I already graduated, so I don't have any outstanding like things that I need to get out of it. But it'll require you to register for classes along with other things, your health insurance, maybe like paying maybe your bill or something like that, or any other requirements that you need to turn in, maybe your transcripts. All of that is going to appear there. So as soon as you could get anything out of your checklist, the better. It's just a good way. So one, you don't get holds on your registration. That way you could register on time. And then it allows you to do other things too on your portal. So it'll just, once you don't have anything on your portal, I believe it should just be blank. But it'll tell you when it's like in process, it's completed or anything like that. So once it's completed, you could look at different things. So let's say your awards terms and conditions, you have to sign it or something like that. It'll show all of that. And then here's usually how it looks. So if there's an X, it's on satisfied or incomplete. If it's a little triangle, it's like under review or it's pending. But once it's check marked, it's complete. And sometimes it might show you to submit like a certain document or anything like that. And once you submit the document, it'll go to the triangle. And if they accept it, it'll be check marked.
So somebody just asked, what is the usual registration date for the spring semester, or will it be at the same time as the fall semester? So registration dates are usually different. You can Google it to find out. So right now Harriet's doing that, so we can check it out.
Yeah, so if you just, I Googled UC Merced spring registration, Usually it'll be the academic calendar. It'll show you the whole academic year, so fall and spring semester, and it'll tell you like some breaks that we have when final exam starts, Thanksgiving or anything like that. But fall semester for you guys is going to be Wednesday, August 19. Classes are going to start the 26th. There's Labor Day, the last day to add and drop classes, although it doesn't tell you when you might or might not get the W. So I recommend just Googling UC Merced dropping classes, and it'll give you the PDF version that I showed you guys earlier. But for the other one, for registration date, spring semester begins January 12th, but in order for you to register, I believe what they do is they give you your registration time ahead of time. So you're going to be registering while you're in school. So it'll be between maybe, I want to say maybe October or November to December. It'll open up for you guys depending on a lot of things. So how many units you've taken, if you're a transfer student, if you're second year, third year, fourth year, depending on like who you are. Let's say you're a senior, they give you priority for classes. But after seniors, juniors go, sophomores, and usually like freshmen. But it goes like that, depending. But spring instruction, it doesn't necessarily tell you when registration begins, just because it does vary depending on the person. But it should be between September, December maybe-ish.
Harriet?
Yeah.
Okay, so usually for first year students, they usually register usually after Thanksgiving break. So it's the latter part of November that they will get their appointment times and they'll register for their classes. But one of the things that it's also recommended is before you enroll in your classes for spring, you are strongly encouraged to meet with your academic advisor and Bobcat Advising to go over your planned courses for the spring before your designated registration appointment time.
Thank you, Alex.
Sure.
If y'all have any questions, email Alex. He's great. Just letting you know.
Yes, he is.
You're gonna need someone to mentor, not just mentor you, but give you advice during your undergraduate career. So find someone who you get along with and become friends with them.
Find Alex, the BSC, the Bright Success Center, second floor, library room 222. Is it?
222.
Yeah, 222. Yes. But if you guys have any questions or you guys want to find out about different classes or other like things that you guys still are wondering about maybe in the future or that you haven't thought of, you guys could always find us at Instagram at UC Merced, UCM Community Partners, and you could always DM us. We'll try to respond as quickly as possible with the information you guys need. We're going to be posting this recording on our YouTube, so that way you guys have access to what we said, the questions that was asked, and so on, and how we like looked at different stuff. And then if you guys do want to email us instead, we do have an email at ucmcommunitypartners@gmail.com. And then on the chat, Alejandro Delgadillo, he sent his email right there. He's the Associate Director for Educational Equity and Access. He's actually our boss, so I would recommend definitely emailing him. He's very useful, resourceful, and he's super nice. And he has cool stories too.
Yes, I agree. And then we're just gonna hang out here for the period.
Yeah.
So if y'all don't have any more questions, feel free to log off. Or if you do have any questions, stay on. But thank you so much for coming by. We really appreciate it, and good luck. Yeah. All right.
Yes. Or if you guys want to ask us a question, not on the chat, but through your mic, you guys could always unmute it and ask us a question. We have the Zoom open until 6 o'clock, but if there's no one at the end of it, it's fine, and we'll just end the session and post it on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Check out our Instagram. I always reply back to the DMs and the questions. So yeah, if y'all have any questions about anything, you know, we're here to help y'all succeed.
Y'all did a great job.
Can you guys see my message where I put the Instagram?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, great. Oh, wait, somebody asked a question. If we don't take the AWPE exam and we're waiting for AP exam scores, would we still have to take the AWP exam later on? Alex, would you know?
I can
this
answer
one?
that question. So the analytical writing placement exam is to see what your level of proficiency is in writing. So all the UCs require this of all the incoming freshmen. Now, the thing is that if you're waiting for your AP exams, remember your AP exams don't come out till July, and you're enrolling in classes on the 24th, 25th, or 26th of June. So therefore, you could go ahead and enroll in writing 1 for the time being. And if your AP scores a 3, 4, or 5, and you can place out of writing 1, then later on you can go back and drop writing 1 and add writing 10. So you can do that. So if you don't want to take the analytical writing placement exam, that's your discretion. But if you don't take it and you don't get a significant score on your AP scores, then yes, you will start at writing 1.
Any more questions? Feel free to ask.
The only thing that I would add is the Spark class, and I know that came up earlier. The Spark classes are theme-based, meaning they deal with certain issues. So there might be a class, which are writing courses. That's what Spark classes are. That what used to be referred to as our core writing class. But some of the classes, no, all of the classes have themes to them. So one could be about society and race. Another could be more about sexual identity. Another one could be in the form of social media and its influence. So each of the Spark classes has a different theme. It's not just one generic writing class. Okay, so yes, you can take the equivalent of your writing 1 class at a community college, but be sure that the course is transferable back to UC Merced. So there's a website called assist.org, and many of you are working with your counselors or your advisors at either at your schools or your programs. So I'm hoping they're guiding you through this to be sure that the course is transferable. So from the community college to UC Merced, meaning is an articulated course that we accept as the equivalent of the course that we would teach at UC Merced. So if you are taking it at the community college, then yes. However, you might come into some difficulty about trying to enroll in writing 10 for fall semester because of the fact that we're going to wait for that grade. So you could go ahead and enroll in writing 1, and then remember to be sure you send your transcripts from the community college to the registrar's office at UC Merced so that it can be approved and say, yes, this is the same as our writing 1 class, and then later on drop the writing 1 class and add the writing 10 class later.
Someone asked if you want to take a beginner's language class and you check the Bobcat courses and it says it's full, is there any way to still take the class when registration time comes around?
Y'all know how to crash courses. You can tell them.
Yeah. So one, depending on if the class, you could always check back and forth between the course catalog and see if the class is open. A lot of students, what they do is usually take the class for like a week or so, try it out, and if they don't like it, they usually drop the class so the seat opens up. So or depending between right now and then until classes start like August 26th. And if students have been dropping classes, just keep looking back and forth to see if those classes are open. And usually, yes, you might be able to get into the class, but another way that you could do is always email the professor, Google them, or go to the UC Merced staff and just put their name on it. It'll show you their email or any other information about them. And just send them a quick email saying, hi, professor. Make sure it's a professional email, nothing to like you're writing to your homies or anything like that. A professional email. saying that you're interested in the class and you would like to take it. Is there any other way that they could maybe offer you a seat? And what most professors might or might not do is that they'll be like, yes, I could request to have the class a little bit bigger, so they could include more classes, or they could give you a separate code in which they'll allow you to overwrite the class and you could be in the class. But honestly, all of that depends on the professor and if any other student drops the class or decides to take any other class. Someone asked, if I took a math placement exam, when will I receive the results? Alex, do you know that?
Yeah, if you're taking the online placement exam that UC Merced is offering, it will tell you when you complete the exam. It will tell you right then and there your score. And so because of that, you can go ahead and add into the appropriate math class based on your score that you just received.
Okay, and then someone else asked, I'm starting my CC classes on June 29. If these are prereq classes for my fall class, will it still let me register for those classes in the fall?
You won't be able to register for those classes in the fall until we see your final grades. So that's why it's important that if you enroll in the introductory courses for the fall, and then you are taking the introductory courses at the community college and you pass them all, then you have to be sure that your transcripts are received by UC Merced. I forget what the date is, but it's like the third week in August before classes begin, to be sure that we can validate that indeed you've already passed those classes. And then therefore your advisor, you work with your academic advisor to override the classes so you can enroll in the more advanced courses based upon the grades you receive from the community college. So it's always good to send your transcripts to the registrar's office, but it's also probably a good idea to have a copy sent to you as well, so that you see what your final grades are and you can maybe scan it and show it to your academic advisor via email, or if you're on campus, go in person, and therefore they can override your courses and you can take the more advanced course.
Yeah, I Googled when the transcript deadline is. It says official transcripts due in the Office of Admissions July 1st, but
Those are high school transcripts.
oh, okay. So they're talking
final high school or community college transcripts. But the student's asking about courses they're taking in the summer. And so that actually goes directly to the registrar's office, because by then there'll be our UC Merced student already.
and yeah. Is there a deadline for when I have to register my transcripts from the CC?
Yeah, it's by the third week of August, and I can't remember the exact date, but there is a required date. I can probably look it up. Hold on. You can go ahead and answer all the other questions. I'll look it up though.
Okay. Someone said, sorry, back to the online placement exam. When I submitted, the window only showed me how many answered and unanswered questions I had. I did not get a score. How would that work, Alex, if they didn't get a score as soon as they finished their math placement exam?
It should give you a score right when you're done. So it's supposed to be an automated system. If they're not getting the score, then they would probably need to contact the School of Natural Sciences, because Natural Sciences oversees the math placement exam.
Yeah, so if you can, contact your school depending on your major and ask them that question directly. I'm sure they'll give you more information on what to do. Oh yeah, someone else had the same thing happen to them. It only told them what they did well and what they should study for.
That's weird, because the math placement exam is supposed to tell you what your score is. Yeah, then definitely contact the School of Natural Sciences, and I'll get that information in a second. Okay, so if you're taking summer courses at a community college, your transcripts need to arrive at UC Merced by August the 15th, and it has to go to the Office of the Registrar. So it has to be Office of the Registrar, UC Merced, 5200 North Lake Road, Merced, California, 95343. So as long as it goes to the office of the registrar and you say UC Merced, and again, if you forget the address, it's, you can go to our website, look at the very bottom, it'll have the campus average, the campus address, but you should at least say office of the registrar. Now, as far as finding out about placement exams, okay, what the heck is it? This is School of Natural Sciences, but you can keep answering the other questions.
Okay, I think that was the main concern, the math placement exam.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of odd because usually it tells you right then and there.
Is the math placement exam administered by the UC? Or
Yes, it is, by UC Merced.
scores.
Okay, natural sciences. Okay.
I Googled it, and on their site it says, will I get my placement score as soon as I finish the online test? And it says, no, you will not receive a score at the test. Instead, you will get feedback on your strength and weakness on various topics. The course into which you are ready to place will be included in a recommended list of courses sent to you by your academic advisor.
Okay. Well, the academic advisor is going to be coming from actually from the Bobcat Advising Center. All freshmen go their first year. All their academic advisors are located in the Bobcat Advising Office or Center. And then after your first year, then you will be advised by your academic school. So if you're an engineer, School of Engineering, Sociology, Psychology, that's the School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts. And if you're going into math or physics or biology or chemistry, that would be the School of Natural Sciences. Thank you, Harriet. I did not know that. They changed it.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Wow.
So I guess they just take your score and then they send it to their advisor, and then they send them the list of classes along with the math classes that they scored into.
Okay. Some of you might be bio majors, and that's great. And your advisor will probably recommend that you take writing 1, math 5, bio 1 with a lab, and chemistry 1. There is no lab for chemistry 1. However, that might be a bit heavy coursework for your first semester of college. So it also depends on yourself, your level of confidence with being able to have trying to manage that kind of load. Even though it's, 4 classes, it's actually 5 if you include the lab and the lab reports that go with it and so forth. So sometimes, biology majors aren't always aware that they don't have to take bio 1 and bio 2 their first year. They can actually take it their second year. So maybe the first semester, just take Chem 1, take Writing 1, take Math 5. Maybe if you want to take another course, a GE course, so that it's not a heavy load your first semester. So a course like, for example, Critical Race and Ethnic Studies 1, or CRES 1, or maybe History 39, or Bio 60, which is a nutrition class, and a variety of different other classes you could take. And if you want to, then maybe spring semester, then take Bio 1 with the lab. But for your first semester, probably just get acclimated to college first. Oops. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Send them through the chat, or you could turn on your mic and just directly ask us, whichever one you prefer. Someone asked, I applied for a living learning community housing and was accepted into my second choice. Do I still have a chance to be accepted into my first choice, or is that a final decision for my housing?
There's always the chance to be taken off of one. You can always communicate with the housing office, which is housing@ucmerced.edu, and tell them that you still would like your first preference. Remember that even though we have all these incoming first-year students coming in, students will be dropped from their admission because Either they didn't maintain their grades their last semester and therefore are disqualified and their admission is rescinded, or students don't get their transcripts in on time by the July 1st deadline, or their test scores aren't in by July 15th, then their admission will be rescinded. Or some students were on waiting lists at other schools and decide that later on found out that they got admitted at that other school and then cancel their admission to UC Merced. So people will drop before the beginning of the fall semester. So there's always that probability, but you got to let housing know that you're still interested in and that you're first choice.
So someone asked, are there any professors or classes you might recommend on taking for psychology classes? Someone brought it up earlier on, but you want to see how professors are rated. A lot of students use ratemyprofessor.com, I was going to say .org, but ratemyprofessor.org. And you could always go to the course catalog depending on the class, and sometimes they'll list the professor, other times they won't. But I'm not a psychology major, so I wouldn't for sure say what professors might be good. But I did take it as my upper division non-major, and the professors that I got, let me see. I'm just gonna put psychology at UC Merced. So you could search the department and see the professors that are there. So I think it's this one. While I'm looking at this, someone else asked, are the 1-unit seminars for living, learning, community housing included in the 16-unit max we could take?
Yes. Well, no, 16 isn't a max. It just, that's just a full load for your, for a semester. You can take more up to 18, but anything beyond that, you'll need, approval by your dean of your academic school. So if you are already enrolled in 16 and you're taking the Living Learning Community course, which is an undergraduate studies 10 class, which is a freshman seminar class, then that's a 1 credit class. So, if you add that, then it'll be 17 units.
Yeah, so this is the faculty for the psychology department. A lot of these professors I personally have not taken, but I took Psych 145, which was sexual psychology with Professor Avila. I don't see him on here, but if you take any class with Professor Avila, he's actually super good. He's very interactive with the class. He uses a lot of polls and stuff like that, questionnaires with the class. So a lot of the questionnaires that you guys answer at the beginning of the class, he incorporates it with your lecture. So I thought that was pretty cool to see out of the students in the class, how many students thought a certain way. I did take Deborah Wybe for health psychology, and she's super nice. The way she does lecture is it's usually a big lecture from 100 students, 100 to 120-ish. And she does a lot of group work. So you interact a lot with the students in your class, and you go over certain questions that a health psychologist would ask. So she would ask you to get in groups of 4 and think about, how would you as a psychologist, knowing this, how would you respond to a person that has maybe is having this behavior or not? Another psychology professor that I took was, Lindsay, are you still in here? Question mark?
Yeah, I'm right here.
What was the professor that we took for alcohol, behavior, and alcohol, drugs, and behavior?
Nancy.
Oh yeah, Yancy. Actually, Ross Avila is right here. Never mind. This is Professor Avila. He's really good, super nice. Yancey, Robert Yancey. He's a little bit old. Lack of words. But he's very interactive. His lectures are super cool. He's the type of professor that let's say you cannot attend class, he's very understanding, but he also does post lectures online for you to access. A lot of professors, depending on who you get, might or might not do this, but it's really cool, so you could follow along. He gives you really unique projects, like one of the projects we did for that alcohol, drugs, and behavior class is we were able to choose a fictional character. So I ended up choosing, in my first class, I chose, I think, Batman, and I analyzed his behavior and kind of interpreted to see what kind of maybe like mental issue he had online using different resources. And then from there we wrote a whole essay, and then from there we used that case study, and if he liked it, what he would do is show it off like as an example to classes. So he does give you like different essays to work with. But he's really cool. Robert Yancey, Professor Avila, Deborah Wybe, I believe, I'm not sure, is really nice. But for the rest of the faculty, I wouldn't know for sure, because I only took 4 psych classes instead of like having it as a major. But does anyone else have any other questions, comments, concerns?
Alex, could you answer the 1 unit semester question? Or, oh wait, you already did? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry. What was the question?
Did you answer the 1 unit semester for living, learning, community housing included in the 16 units max we can take?
Well, yes, I think I already answered that question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can take up to, you know, maximum of 18, even maybe possibly 20, but you're going to need, you know, special permission from your academic dean, from your academic school. But the 1 credit class will take you only to 17, so that's well below the 18 that you know that you can max out at. So you'd be fine.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Is the workload heavy on the classes? If you're talking about the psych classes, no, they're not. When I had Professor Avila, he didn't really like leave homework or anything like that. What he did instead is he had us do exams instead. So he would have midterm exams every like 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, and it's basically like a test on the material that you're learning. Just remembering that since you're in college, a lot of the studying and homework is going to be up to you. There's not going to be, the teacher's not going to be like pressing you about doing your homework or even turning it in or anything like that. But if I do recommend, obviously, turn in your homework, go to every exam. If you need to request a different date to do the exam, do it with time. But the workload for Professor Avila wasn't a lot. You might have to do an end of the semester project max, maybe with like another student or by yourself, but that's pretty much it. For Professor Deborah, what she did a lot of multiple like choice exams, but instead of that, also with that, she did a lot of essays depending on like certain things. So one of my final essays was how music helps you like psychologically with your health. So that was what my term paper was about. Papers usually range from like 5 to maybe 8 pages depending on the professor, but honestly, if you do it with time, it's not a lot, it's doable. I know a lot of people do procrastinate and do it last minute and they're able to get it done, but honestly, recommending it, it's not a good idea to do everything last minute just because you might have deadlines that are due at the same time, which has happened to me, and you just don't have enough time. You just make yourself more anxious, you have to stay up, you lose sleep, you lose you might or might not eat. You're just tired at the end of the day and you crash. But besides that, Professor Yancey, he does a lot of multiple choice, but he also does case studies or research papers. So a lot of psychology classes and Shaw majors are going to be doing research papers, which is basically what it's all going to be about, depending on the classes you take and who your professor is. But it's honestly not a lot as long as you manage everything you have to do.
So somebody asked, are there any professors' class recommendation for bio majors? So unfortunately, we're not bio majors, so I can't really recommend. But I really do recommend that you go on the Facebook page and you join the UC Merced Classifieds page and ask and post, just be like, hey, I'm a first-year student, I'm a bio major, and I would like to get recommendation on classes and professors you guys have taken. A lot of bio major students are willing to share tips with you, which is really cool, because maybe you can even message them privately, become friends with them, get a mentor. That's really, really useful. Yeah, so I really recommend that. Students are always open to like give advice and just anything. If you don't have classifieds, get it. It's going to help you out with your whole college career. It's like a separate page run by students, but it's like a community page where we ask each other like, about different professors, about different classes, anything related to student life, you will see on there. So definitely recommend that.
Yes, I didn't make a Facebook page until I almost finished my first year. And I'm telling you, I could have carpooled with students so many times instead of taking the Amtrak, which costs more, especially if you're from SoCal. But they do offer other things, such as like once you move off campus, a lot of students post houses that they're planning on renting, looking for roommates. Students post their surveys for their depending on the class, they might have to create a survey. So it's like the students are super like nice and like they're just like they're there for your well-being. So they'll go out of their way to answer any of your questions, surveys, help you with homework, give you certain programs, who to talk to, who to do research with, or anything like that. But yes, make a Facebook account, go to UC Merced Classifieds, and then just request to be added. And honestly, any person could add you. So just hop on it. It's a really, really good resource.
I could add about the biology question. So there's a professor in School of Natural Sciences. His name is Rudy Ortiz. And if you are a first generation student interested in going into the sciences, physical sciences, I strongly recommend that you reach out to Rudy. Rudy is a professor that has grant money, and he uses that grant money to help those students who come from underrepresented, marginalized populations or communities who want to pursue science. And everything from helping you to register for a conference because you can't attend the conference because you don't have the money for the registration fee. He will help you out with that. He's helped one of my students who was doing an internship research in Washington, D.C., and she did a paper and was doing research, and she was asked to present on it at a conference in Hawaii. So he provided her the funds to fly from Washington, D.C. to Hawaii to go to the conference and do her presentation on her research. So Rudy does a great deal of things for our students at UC Merced who are in the School of Natural Sciences, in addition to being a great mentor. So it's about meeting those kind of professors that become mentors for you. You're going to be intimidated by some professors, but you'll get over it. As you get to know them, you start showing up to office hours and so forth. So initiate, because that's how you're going to get far in college. Often the most important relationships you have in college are with your faculty, especially for what you're preparing for after graduation. The other recommendation or suggestion I have is that you consider joining professional organizations. I don't suggest you do it your first semester, but maybe your second semester, or maybe your second year. And professional organizations, like for example, students who want to go into medicine, students who want to go in some form of biomedical research or engineering, or they're interested in social work and so forth. There's a variety of different professional organizations which are different than student organizations. There are social organizations, like you'll hear of fraternities and sororities. There are cultural groups like METCHA, Black Student Union, African Student Union, and so forth. But then there are also the professional organizations that deal more with your professional development. And those are the organizations that will help you and take you to conferences where you start developing your professional network. These are the folks that are going to have taken the same classes that you plan to take, and they can advise you which professor to take, what classes you should take, what sequence you should take them in. And even when you're looking for books, upperclassmen are more than willing to either give you, loan you, or sell you the books that they've already taken for those courses and so forth. So it's a great opportunity, great networking, your professional development, but also learning more about your specific field and what classes, what professors to outreach to, and learning more about internship opportunities and research opportunities by joining those kind of professional organizations, and those will benefit you as well.
Alex, just to be sure, Rudy's email is rots@ucmerced.edu, right?
Yeah, because Rudy's been here since the university opened, so he's the only ROTs.
Okay, cool. But yes.
And the thing about Rudy is also his parents never went to college, so he and his 5 brothers, so there's 6 of them, all went to college, and all 6 of them have PhDs. So Rudy knows, the journey of a first-generation student. No other questions? Well, if there's no other questions, I am going to leave because I got another meeting pretty soon. Anyway, I want to thank you all for great job today. You all did a great job.
Thank you, Alex. You were nervous in the beginning.
Yeah, and you had a huge turnout, so congratulations, good job.
Yes. Yeah, I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, how do you work this? How do I do this?
Well, I wouldn't have known you didn't know.
Yes.
All right, then y'all take care. I'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
Okay, good luck on your meeting.
Thank you.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your salutations. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh my God, Alex, it was your birthday?
Yes, it was on Facebook, bro.
I know. All right, then take care.
I haven't been on Facebook.
Bye. All right, y'all, I'm gonna hop off because I'm hungry. Oh wait, there's still.
You're just gonna end it? Yeah, Harriet?
Yeah, I'll just end it and then I'm gonna wait for the thing to download to my computer, and then from there I'll just, if I can, I'll post it today on YouTube.
Shout out, bro.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
This session was really helpful. I'm so glad.
Wait, let me stop the recording because I think like you could like, stop.